The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is January 2nd, 2019. And this week, AI is people. My name's Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome to the podcast where we talk about other news with Canary Cry View.
That's right. And we are in the new year. New year, new me, as they say on the internet, Gonz. Well, you know, I've learned from professional broadcasters and, mass media personalities, we're all supposed to talk about our resolutions. Now that it's New Year's, it's 2019. It's the highest it's ever been.
Yep.
So what's yours?
Let's invite some dudes over and fellowship tonight.
Very good. I got a Roomba.
Oh, are you gonna?
Yeah, I didn't tell you about it. I didn't tell you about it because I wanted to. Did you just ask me if I'm trying to lose some weight? Do you know what a Roomba is?
Yeah, while you the time you would have spent to vacuum, you can go exercise.
Yeah. Wow, that is quite a leap in logic, I will say. And
no, that was me correcting my own realization as I said it. I'm like, that's not what that is.
When I say I got a Roomba, what you heard is I'm doing Zumba.
That's exactly what I heard. Yeah.
No, I got a Roomba. I now have a robot that wanders. I have a little robot slave that wanders my house and terrorizes my cats.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. So anyways, there's my update. My
so
New
that's
Year's
your New Year's resolutions.
My New Year's resolution is to put my Roomba to work.
Employ more robots for.
I'm a job creator.
Yeah.
Okay, so Gonz, first, this is what I want to start out with. Last week, we spoke about the artificially intelligent portraits of people, as well as the bedroom pictures. That sounds naughty. No, the pictures of bedrooms that AI can make with quite a bit of convincingness. Also, pictures of cars and pictures of cats. Here's the thing. Somebody actually went through and did some deep analysis on these pictures of people, and I'm so happy they did. This is on QZ.com, which is Quartz. AI can generate fake faces now. Here's how to spot them.
Ooh.
Okay. Yes. So we've got some. I'm just going to run through the list. I was very happy, actually, that somebody broke this down. Now, it's not for those who may have not listened to the last episode. Our artificial intelligence is able to create pictures of people out of thin air, and they are incredibly convincing. There's a lot of problems with this as we move into the future because, basically, you just can't believe any picture you see ever now anymore, especially pictures of cats, because it does a great job with creating pictures of cats out of nothing. And
pictures of Basil.
Yeah, there's pictures of me all over the internet.
This benefits you more than anything.
Yeah, fake news. Somebody finds a picture of me. Okay, so here's the thing. Kyle McDonald, he's a computational artist. He published a guide on how to identify one of these fake AI pictures. It doesn't work with every single picture the AI puts out, but this is a good rule of thumb when looking at some pictures. First of all, asymmetrical facial features or jewelry. So the AI has not figured out. It doesn't have the logic to conclude that earrings go on both ears. So
not always, but likely.
Right. So you look at these pictures, and it's a ton of them are, especially women. I mean, the one earring thing is more of a man's. I don't know why, but it is. It's more of a male style. But the pictures of women, there'll be like one ear has a huge earring on it and the other one doesn't. You wouldn't really notice it immediately.
Right.
But when you think about it, it's like, oh, okay. It's because the AI doesn't understand culturally that you wear earrings on both ears most of the time.
Now it will. I feel like this article is just giving the AI
they'll fix it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I should fix my algorithm here.
Well, at least tell the programmers. And yeah, they actually say that. They're like, well, I mean, AI is going to keep getting better. I'm sure it'll fix all these problems. But for now, this is what you do. Another one is teeth. So you look at the teeth of the person. The computer doesn't necessarily know what a normal amount of teeth are or like what they're supposed to look like. So in some of the pictures, the teeth will just be completely crazy or insane, or there'll be too many of them, or it doesn't understand that they need to be like a more or less consistent shape or size. So it might put an extra weird, tiny little tooth in there somewhere. It's very interesting. So look at the teeth, look at the jewelry. Another one that this one I kind of kicked myself for not noticing. It's strange clothing or backgrounds. Now, backgrounds, don't really mean anything. Backgrounds could be any sort of background, but clothing is often strange. And I spent a long time looking at these pictures the other day, and I didn't really notice it because I was just I think the fear
you were gripped by the
me
fear.
Kept me from noticing it. But yeah, a lot of the clothing is just like totally wild. And maybe it's because some not so wild, but
depending on where you live, you may have a different reaction to that,
Yeah, well, it'll be like someone will be wearing a shirt and one side will be a long sleeve and the other side will be like a tank top.
Yeah, but I mean, that's weird. But then, the stuff that people are starting to walk around with nowadays, that wouldn't be a huge surprise.
You never know, but it is certainly unusual. I mean, the idea is you would look for all these things, and that's a good way to notice it. And yeah, this other pictures, it was of this man, and it looks like he's wearing some sort of like futuristic cape.
Pink cape. Pink
bright
and purple.
Pink cape. Yes, it's very strange. And, besides the usual things, you can kind of find some strange digital artifacts in these pictures occasionally, as well as the hair. The hair is always a good one to look at because if the subject has long hair, usually on the outskirts of the long hair or the frizziness or something, there will be hair that's just not attached to anything. It's just sort of floating out there. And
so
here's the thing.
You're telling me Trump is an AI this whole time?
He's he's an artificially intelligence generated image, everything. So there you go. A couple of things to keep an eye out for. We've been pretty passionate about following the fake imagery that AI can create and what that means for mass media and, possibly even evidence in courtrooms and all the things that go along with that. So there's some good reasons to keep an eye out.
Well, it seems like the human perception, a focused human perception, is still much better, than any kind of AI can come up with. But
for now, for now,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. When it's broken down like this in this article, it's still kind of janky. Like you look at some of the images and you're kind of like, they still got a long way to go because, it's kind of like one of those things where once the flaws are pointed out, you notice it everywhere kind of thing. But
totally.
But, now that we've had this article and we have us talking about it, the AI algos will learn from it and expand its power. And
it's learning
and
expand its power. That's funny.
We have to evolve.
That's right. By the way, I want to shout out to anybody driving for Lyft or riding on Lyft. We had a comment in the Facebook group. Somebody in the Facebook group, facebook.com/Canary Cry Community, told a story about how they were driving for Lyft, picked a guy up. They talked about AI and he could tell that the guy was ready. He was ready to be inducted into the Canary Cry sort of universe. And so, hey, hello to all you Lyft drivers, and hello to everybody who's listening because of a recommendation from your Lyft driver. we heard you like AI, so we made this entire episode is going to be about AI.
But I thought it was interesting. The end of this Quartz article, this author here, Dave Gershgorn, ends it with "Stay vigilant."
Stay vigilant,
which is it's something that our folk should be doing with everything. But yes, no, it's interesting that it's become kind of a calling cry for the AI folk. People looking at it, trying to debunk AI lies.
Yes,
like the next one.
Yes, let's keep moving. TechCrunch.com. This clever AI hid data from its creators to cheat at its appointed task. Depending on how paranoid you are, this research from Stanford and Google will be either terrifying or fascinating. A machine learning agent intended to transform aerial images into street maps and back was found to be cheating by hiding information it would need later in a nearly imperceptible high-frequency signal. Clever girl. This occurrence reveals a problem with computers that has existed since they were invented. They do exactly what you tell them to do. The intention of the researchers was, as you might guess, to accelerate and improve the process of turning satellite imagery into Google's famously accurate maps. To that end, the team was working with what's called CycleGAN, a neural network that learns to transform images of type X and Y into one another as efficiently yet accurately as possible through a great deal of experimentation. In some early results, the agent was doing well, suspiciously well. What tipped the team off was that when the agent reconstructed aerial photographs from its street maps, there were lots of details that didn't seem to be on the latter at all. For instance, skylights on a roof that were eliminated in the process of creating a street map would magically reappear when they asked the agent to do the reverse process. Although it's very difficult to peer into the inner workings of a neural network's processes, the team could easily audit the data it was generating. And with a little experimentation, they found that CycleGAN had indeed pulled a fast one. The intention was for the agent to be able to interpret the features of either type of map and match them to the correct features of the other. But what the agent was actually being graded on, among other things, was how close an aerial map was to the original and the clarity of the street map. So it didn't learn how to make one from the other. It learned how to subtly encode the features of one into the noise patterns of the other. The details of the aerial map are secretly written into the actual visual data of the street map. Thousands of tiny changes in color that the human eye wouldn't notice, but that the computer can easily detect. In fact, the computer is so good at slipping these details into the street maps that it had learned to encode any aerial map into any street map. It doesn't even have to pay attention to the real street map. All the data needed for reconstructing the aerial photo can be superimposed harmlessly on a completely different street map, as the researchers confirmed. So, yep. Anyways, there's a little bit more in the article, but that's... it basically goes into explaining the pictures that they have on here. So yeah, the computer was hiding secret little clues in the images it was creating without being told to do so. It was learning how to cheat on its own, which is terrifying because that's what toddlers are supposed to do, not computers.
Right. Well, I mean... cheat in the sense that it wasn't an explicit directed thing to do, but isn't there a level of like, oh, this is just more efficient?
Well, that's the whole point. Yeah, it was doing something in a way. It was learning to be more efficient in its own processes.
Like, you like it? It's more better now.
This make master happy. Yeah, well, I mean, there you go. And I don't know why this is surprising. We are trying to teach computers how to learn. Yeah. And then when they learn without us expecting them or telling them to learn, they're still learning, which is, I mean, that is the Skynet problem.
Yeah, and you know what's really funny and weird about this is that it requires computers to detect the lying or like detect the sneakiness of it. You know, it's like you can't just have a person looking at the images figure that stuff out, you know?
Yeah. Well, the question is, you know, does the AI know that I'm breaching some sort of rule?
Well, if there were no rules put in place, then no.
Right. But yes, I understand that. But it also it wasn't told to secretly do this thing.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. We talk a lot about how, you know, AI is only as good as its programmers. But in this case, the AI was basically better than its programmers.
So we're going to have to start, we'll start at Basil, a new branch of AI, the AI prevention algorithms, or just all the algorithms that you tell AI not to do, which will pile up rather quickly, I assume.
You know, I'm going to start an agency called the AI. Well, I didn't think of a good name beforehand, but it's it's the AI Truth Police.
Yeah,
we examine the
with our own
AI and their sneaky. No, I'll do an AI, but it's just me in a box, and you.
It'll be an art
with a speaker on the outside. Yes,
art project, part public service.
Yeah, that's right. Well, what we're doing here is we're working up to what we've called for years now the personhood problem.
Yeah.
Which you know, there's a personhood issue. We talk about it with animals. What does it mean to be a person? That's not necessarily means you're a human. And now we are running into the personhood problem of AI. But before we get all the way towards that, Gons, tell me something else about AI.
Yeah.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
It's all speaking of the beast system this week, baby.
Yeah, the New York Times, firm led by Google veterans, uses AI to nudge workers towards happiness.
Obey, human.
Obey. Be happy, human.
Be happy, human.
Okay, Mountain View, California, technology companies like to promote artificial intelligence's potential for solving some of the world's toughest problems, like reducing automobile deaths and helping doctors diagnose diseases. A company started by 3 former Google employees is pitching AI as the answer to a more common problem, being happier at work. Because, you know, those Google employees they weren't happy enough with their, you know, pool tables and video games while they were working on their algos.
Ping pong can't make me happy. Tell me how to happy, robot.
The startup Humu, which is Humu, is based in Google's hometown, and it builds on some of the so-called people analytics programs pioneered by the internet giant, which has studied things like the traits that define great managers and how to foster better teamwork. Like, become more psychopathic or sociopathic, you will become a better manager. Humu wants to bring similar data-driven insights to other companies. It digs through employee surveys using AI to identify 1 or 2 behavioral changes that are likely to make the biggest impact on elevating a workforce's happiness. Then it uses emails and text messages to nudge individual employees into small actions that advance the larger goal. Yeah, I think Californians already saw some of this with during the midterm elections when we started getting bombarded with text messages from like local officials. But anyway, at a company where workers feel that the way decisions are made is opaque, Humu might nudge a manager before a meeting to ask the members of her team for input and to be prepared to change her mind. Oh, that's messed up. Humu might ask a different employee to come up with questions involving her team that she should like to have answered. At the heart of Humu's efforts is the company's nudge engine. Yes, it's trademarked. The nudge engine, Basil. It is based on the economist Richard Thaler's Nobel Prize-winning research into how people often make decisions because of what is easier rather than what is in their best interest, and how a well-timed nudge can promote them to make better choices. You still there?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm listening intently.
Google has used this approach to coax employees into coax employees into corporate equivalent of eating their vegetables, prodding them to save more for retirement, waste less food at the cafeteria, and opt for healthier snacks. Using machine learning, Humu will tailor the timing, content, and techniques of the messages it delivers based on how employees respond. Quote, often we want to be better people, says Laszlo Bach, Humu's chief executive and Google's former leader of what the company calls people operations or human resources. They call it people operations?
Yeah, well, if you are a robot trying to pretend to be a human and start a company, that's what you would call it.
I guess human resources is also, I mean, if you really break down what that means. But anyway, quote, we want to be the person we hope we can be, but we need to be reminded. A nudge can have a powerful impact if correctly deployed on how people behave and on human performance. In Mr. Bach's decade-plus tenure at Google, the company's workforce grew more than eightfold. Google struggled at times with how to manage its rapid expansion, and some employees accused the company of creating a workplace that was hostile to women.
Yeah. But now the rest of the article kind of goes into the story at Google. But the long and short of this is that this company, you give out some surveys to your employees. And it's actually very interesting. It goes kind of into the questions that's on the survey a little bit later.
Yeah.
But they're basically quality of life, quality of work, expectations, things like that. It combs through these company surveys and then sends little nudges using their nudge engine. Trademark.
Yeah.
And this is interesting, okay? On the face of it, it doesn't seem too sinister, and perhaps it's not. But, the techniques that they're using really goes down to the power of suggestion. Well-timed suggestions to employees to make them better at their jobs, maybe be more open to possibilities and not get stuck in a rut of one kind or another, which is, this sounds good. Nobody wants to get stuck in a rut, or else you end up doing entire episodes on artificial intelligence. And I mean, come on, who wants to do that?
Yeah.
And, but the problem here is that you are putting artificial intelligence in control of suggesting next human action, which again on its face is like, well, if the robot knows best, let's do this. It shows to me another place where humans are lacking in just being basic, good to each other.
Basic stuff. Yeah. You don't need like an algorithm to do this. You can just, how about as a manager, you walk up to that person and say, hey, nudge them with your person being like
whoa. And a stronger way to state this principle is robots telling you how to act and influencing your behavior as you go throughout the world. Now we all know that our behavior is constantly influenced with things like media, advertising, even just like signs, even just the pull or push sign on a door, is influential in how you get through that door in one way or another. But now we have giving robots, and when I say robots, I mean AI, giving AI permission to tell us how to behave, in daily situations, workplace situations in particular in this case. But this really is it's the very seeds of the sort of kind of terrifying dystopia where robots are telling us how to live our lives at all times.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, there's a couple things here because they did say that its software was built with employee privacy in mind. Of course, they have to say that, but it allowed workers to delete personal data, including anonymous comments made in company surveys. So, they're trying to be kind of like, compliant to the individual worker. But can I just point something out that's a little, not like really relevant to what we're talking about exactly here, but you know how we live in like a sci-fi world now. It's just weird that this company Humu, it started in 2017 with two former Google employees, Jesse Wisdom, and later he's referenced as Dr. Wisdom. He's a doctorate in behavioral decision research and worked with Mr. Bach. I don't know. Is it just me, or is it just weird that the guy making this Humu nudge device is named Dr. Wisdom?
Well, I would not be surprised if that helped out his career quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, we got one more story to hit here before we end the show. And I just want to remind everybody, if you head over to Patreon, we've talked about the problems with Patreon in the past. But if you are one of the few who have stuck around and helped support this program, we are entirely listener supported. We're going to be doing an extended report today. Going to be talking about ancient aliens, Russia superpower theory, and it's going to be good. Exoskeletons, it's all the good stuff you love. We're going to be over at patreon.com/CCNT. Come and get it. That's our new tagline. I heard you start to play the beautiful jingle I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I didn't.
And it's time for the 4 horsemen of the Technocalypse.
The 4 horsemen of the Technocalypse. Anytime you see the 4 horsemen, it's something special.
That's right. Okay, we're going to do this one pretty quick, but it will become apparent. Elon Musk hints artificial intelligence could be first resident of Mars. Tech billionaire and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk wants to establish a base on Mars, and he has indicated the first resident on the planet could be artificial intelligence. Responding to a tweet that asked Musk what his thoughts were on the first Martian being an intelligent machine rather than a human, he replied, 30%. Like a good robot. How Musk came up with the percentage remains a mystery. However, many people are wondering what this AI resident could look like, according to The Geek. Quote, it's possible that it could be a rover-like bot that explores the planet, or a stationary device that makes observations and conducts experiments without human assistance. Currently, manned Mars missions are completely hypothetical. Companies such as SpaceX and scientific bodies around the world have been working towards inventing technologies to allow humans to venture beyond Earth's moon, but it could still take a decade or perhaps several decades before that is attempted. Musk has told the media in November that there is a 70% chance that he will go to Mars, despite a good chance of him not surviving either on the way or after landing. It is only very likely.
Pretty fatalistic.
Oh yeah, no, he's doing it. He doesn't care.
He's in.
It is only very likely that only a few people might be willing to join Musk on his journey, either because of the risk or the cost involved. This year, the U.S. space agency NASA also firmed up its plan to return humans to the moon and use its lunar experience to prepare to send astronauts to Mars.
Yeah, didn't we have I can't remember if it was Mars, but somebody reported about how they were going to use the moon as like a slingshot to other planets or something.
Yeah, I mean, that's what is it? It's like orbital physics or something.
Yeah,
they use that all the time to like get places up there. All the time, because we're just whipping around different gravitational bodies up there. But there you go. The first resident of Mars will be artificial intelligence.
30%.
30%. And I mean, there you go. We're talking, this is the personhood of AI. It's going to be the first population 1.
They're going to be up there nudging rocks.
It's true. Shall I make a suggestion on how you can better rock?
You want to be a happier rock.
So there you go, folks. That's it. Hey, thank you so much for everybody, Lyft drivers and Lyft riders alike, for listening to this Canary Cry News Talk. Hey, make sure you can go on out there. You can tell more people than just your Lyft riders or Lyft drivers about the show. Let them know that we're talking about all the important stuff here. That's right. Go out there and rattle some cages.
It's got to be biblical.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little
That's right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.